Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at Serbia's national security, specifically the Security Intelligence Agency, the BIA.
That's right.
We've got a good mix of sources here: history, legal stuff, recent news, and, well, the idea is to really pull out the key information for you, give you a solid understanding of this agency.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to get lost in the details. The BIA's history is, well, complex. So our goal here is really to provide that shortcut, cut through the noise.
We'll trace its origins, how it changed names and roles through different eras, its current setup, and touch on some recent things it's been involved in.
Highlighting those crucial shifts and what defines it today.
Okay, so let's jump in. It looks like Serbia didn't have like a dedicated spy agency right from the get-go.
Right.
During the first Serbian uprising, early 1800s, security, intelligence, it was all mixed in with the military and admin.
Pretty much. And you have to remember the context, right? They were up against the Ottomans, the Habsburgs, sometimes Russia, even France.
Yeah.
Trying to counter espionage from all those powers without a central agency. That must have been, well, a real challenge.
Huge challenge. There are these early hints, though, like an 1808 order kicking suspected spies out of Belgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And the police were told to look out for malevolent people, outlaws, spies, and similar. Seems very reactive, almost basic.
It does, but it shows they recognize the need, even then. The creation of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in 1811, that was a key moment. It formally took on civil security and intelligence work.
Then, under Prince Milo Obrenović, things seemed to ramp up. Secret arms deals, protecting info, gathering political intel.
Yeah, and trying to counter misinformation, even shape foreign opinions. You're seeing the core elements of modern intelligence work starting to emerge there.
He clearly saw the value in it.
Absolutely, for consolidating power and pushing Serbia's agenda.
Okay, let's fast forward a bit. 1899. This looks like a major turning point. A law creates the Department for Secret Police Work within the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
That's it. The first time there's a specific named unit for this job. Intelligence, counterintelligence, tackling anti-state propaganda, outlaws, even counterterrorism. It's all laid out.
And they were looking at, what, French and Austro-Hungarian models?
Yeah, apparently so. Borrowing ideas from established European services, it shows a conscious effort to professionalize.
Jovan Milovanovic was the first boss. They even had a separate secret archive. Sounds quite organized.
It does. Show some real planning went into it.
But it didn't last long as a separate department, merged back into the police department by 1900.
Seems so. Maybe some early bureaucratic shuffling. But the principle, the idea of a dedicated civil intelligence body that had been established.
Right. Moving into the 20th century, post-World War I, things change again. A short-lived Department for Public Security, then in 1920, the Department for State Protection.
And this one had an even wider brief. All the usual intel stuff, plus controlling foreigners, immigration, anti-state propaganda from inside and outside.
Monitoring defectors, keeping tabs on associations.
Yeah.
Quite a list.
It really reflects the anxieties of that post-war period, Lots of perceived threats.
Then the 1929 dictatorship happens, and the department gets reorganized again. Sections specifically for internal and external anti-state propaganda.
Yeah, that really highlights the focus on controlling the narrative, suppressing any kind of dissent, a very clear priority for the regime.
World War II complicates everything, naturally. The intelligence service kept going somehow, within the Yugoslav government in exile.
It did. Still trying to operate, even targeting the independent state of Croatia from exile. Shows a certain resilience.
But the really big shift during the war was the rise of the partisan intelligence services.
Definitely. And they all came together in 1943 under one banner, OZNA, the Department for People's Protection.
OZNA. Okay, so this unified the partisan intelligence efforts. What was its job exactly?
Broadly speaking, intelligence gathering abroad and in occupied areas, counterintelligence in liberated zones, and military counterintelligence. A pretty wide scope.
But this period, it's also incredibly dark. The sources are quite clear about OZNA using illegal practices, including mass killings of enemies of the people.
Yes, and it's crucial we acknowledge this. That label, enemies of the people, it was applied very broadly. Not just active opponents, but anti-communists, people who just didn't support the cause, the wealthy, clergy.
It's horrifying. The scale mentioned, nearly 60,000 killings in Serbia alone, based on that 2005 Ministry of Justice report.
Yeah.
It's staggering and largely hidden for decades.
Absolutely. And the sources mentioned extrajudicial killings, too. Fighting armed anti-communist groups was one thing, but OZNA's response involved Well, systematic brutality outside any legal framework.
A chilling reminder of what can happen without oversight.
Precisely. Accountability is key.
So after the war, 1946, new constitution. OZ&A gets split up. You get KOS, the Military Counterintelligence Service, and UDB, the Civilian State Security Directorate.
That's the split. UDB operated under the Interior Ministry, but it was very much described as a political police, answering directly to the Communist Party. Its job involved political security assessments.
Protecting the party's power, essentially.
That was its core function, yes.
Then, 1966, a big shakeup after Alexander Rankovic's remove. Decentralization.
Right. The Federal Service, SSDB, kept foreign intelligence and coordination, but most of the actual security work devolved to the republic-level services, the SDBs.
So the republics, like Serbia, got much more control over their own security.
Exactly. A significant shift in power. And the focus of these republic SDBs, including Serbia's, turned inward. They concentrated heavily on the domestic enemy. Internal dissent, nationalism, perceived threats to the socialist system.
Foreign intelligence became less of a priority at that level.
It seems so. The main focus was internal security within each republic.
Okay, jumping ahead again. 1991, Yugoslavia is breaking apart. Serbia's SDB transforms into the RDB, the State Security Directorate, still within the Interior Ministry.
Yes, and this is happening during an incredibly turbulent time. And it's during this RDB period that the Special Operations Unit, the JSO, was set up.
Ah, yes, the Red Beret.
And the sources link this unit to war crimes and other criminal activities, which is deeply concerning.
Very. The specific incidents mentioned the Ibar highway attack in 99, the kidnapping and murder of Ivan Stambolic in 2000.
Terrible events.
And RDB officials were later convicted for these crimes. It highlights a period where things went badly wrong.
It really does. A failure of oversight, lines blurred between security and criminality. The convictions were important, but they also showed how urgently reform was needed.
Which brings us finally to July 27, 2002, the birth of the BIA as we know it today, the Security Intelligence Agency.
And crucially, for the first time, legally separated from the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
That feels like a very deliberate move. What was the thinking there? To make it more professional? Independent?
That was certainly the aim, to create a clearer separation between intelligence gathering and police work, foster specialization, maybe improve accountability.
And it's continued to evolve since then. Amendments to its governing law in 2018 giving the director more power. Awards.
Yes, indicating its ongoing importance within the Serbian state structure.
Okay, let's talk about what the BIA has actually been doing recently. Say the last 5 years or so, 2019 to 2024. We have some examples.
Right.
2019, they catch a Russian intelligence officer handing cash to a retired Serbian officer. Pretty classic counter-espionage.
Textbook stuff, yes.
Yeah.
And very public. It showed they were actively working against foreign intel operations, particularly given the, context of Russian influence in the region.
And November 2023, a Croatian diplomat expelled, accused of intelligence gathering from Serbian politicians, business people, NGOs.
Again, highlights that regional intelligence dynamic. Competition monitoring neighbors. It's ongoing.
December 2023, a Bulgarian arrested down south, apparently spying on Serbian police and military. January 2024, Serbian citizens arrested, accused of working for Albanian intelligence, gathering data, planting bugs near the army.
You see the pattern. It points to the BIA dealing with threats from multiple directions, different neighboring countries. It's a complex picture.
Definitely. And then, February 2024, they uncover this foreign organization's office acting as an intelligence front, arresting Serbian citizens.
It shows they're looking beyond just state actors, too, potentially at non-governmental groups used for intel purposes.
And just this past July 2024, arrests at the Krušik Defense Company, employees accused of leaking secrets to a foreign state. That involved cooperation with military security and the police, too.
That collaboration piece is important. These threats often cross agency boundaries. But yeah, overall, these examples paint a picture of a BIA actively engaged in counterintelligence across different sectors: military, political, economic, diplomatic.
So pulling it together, what are the BIA's main missions today, officially?
The sources list 3 core tasks: ensuring the security of Serbia itself, preventing activities aimed at undermining the constitutional order, and then processing and analyzing security intelligence for the government.
Seems straightforward, but covers a lot of ground. Protecting the state, the system, and providing intelligence analysis.
Exactly. It's about both protection and informing decision-making.
And organizationally, headed by a director. Lots of directorates underneath. Operations, intelligence, analytics, counterintelligence, security, technical, R&D, logistics.
Pretty standard structure for a modern intelligence agency, covering the different facets of the job.
Plus those 6 regional centers and, 28 territorial centers, so a presence across the whole country.
Suggests a capacity for nationwide operations and information gathering. You mentioned the directorates like operations would handle the fieldwork, the agents, the surveillance.
Right.
While analytics takes all that raw data and turns it into coherent reports, assessments for the government, they need to work hand in glove.
Makes sense. What about traditions? We noted the current director is Vladimir Orlich since 2024. The agency celebrates its day on October 17th.
Commemorating that original 1899 department.
And its patron saint is Saint Michael the Archangel. Do these traditions mean much, practically speaking?
Well, they help build an identity, a sense of history for the people working there. Linking back to 1899 provides continuity, and the patron saint connects it to broader Serbian cultural, maybe religious values. It fosters an internal ethos.
Interesting. And finally, pop culture. Always fascinating how these agencies get portrayed. There's that TV show, Drzavni Sluzbenik.
Yeah, the fictional BIA agent.
A documentary series, Tane Službe Serbije, looking at the real history. And even a novel, Služba, by a former BIA guy.
Seems the BIA, like many intelligence agencies, captures the public imagination. These portrayals shape perceptions, though obviously often with a lot of dramatic license.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, the BIA clearly has this incredibly long, often turbulent history. It's changed shape, changed names, gone through different political systems.
From those early, almost ad hoc beginnings to the complex agency it is today.
Its tasks have definitely grown, and these recent examples show it's very much active, dealing with espionage, regional issues, internal security, safeguarding Serbia in what's still a pretty complicated part of the world.
Hopefully, tracing that evolution gives you, the listener, a much clearer picture of where the BIA came from and what drives its operations now. It's crucial context for understanding security in the Balkans.
Absolutely. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. We've seen how the BIA and its predecessors have adapted over, well, more than a century. Looking ahead, with threats constantly evolving, cyber attacks, disinformation, new geopolitical tensions, how will agencies like the BIA need to change again?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And maybe even more fundamentally, how do states, how does Serbia continue to navigate that really difficult balance between needing strong security to protect the nation and ensuring the rights and freedoms of individuals aren't trampled in the process? It's a challenge that isn't going away.
Not at all. It's a constant tension, and how it's managed will keep shaping these agencies and the societies they serve.